Hello everyone, I'm Oladipo and welcome to a brand new talkSPORT podcast, The Men's Room. Now look, in The Men's Room, anything goes within reason. We're going to talk about, you guessed right, men, masculinity, sexuality, health, fatherhood, relationships, and so much more. Joining me on this wonderful journey is my co-host, Rory Jennings. How are you, Rory?
This is exciting, isn't it?
This is exciting,
really
isn't
exciting. I mean, I'm loving this setup that we have.
I think it's nice.
You've done some.
It's almost like a little den.
You're very good at the old interior decorating. You've done a great job here.
I do try. My ex wouldn't agree, but
No,
I do try.
I am a big fan. You've got a great eye for it.
Yeah.
You're like the Lawrence
kind.
Llewellyn Bowen of the boxing. You're Lawrence Llewellyn Bowen of the boxing world.
Of the boxing world.
Yeah.
Yes, without
you
the
need some
hair.
double cuffs on soon.
And some hair. This episode, we're going to talk about relationships, which I think is a fantastic episode to kick us off, just because we're on two different ends of the spectrum, you and I.
You're young-ish, free and single.
Yes, I am.
I'm withered, married. And,
is that what marriage does
knackered.
to you? Then I'll stay away from marriage then.
Knackered.
Yeah. How would you class your marriage though? How long's it been? Where did you meet the missus, etc., etc.?
So we got married in 2017. We got married in 2017 at Lord's Cricket Ground, the church on St John's Wood Roundabout, and then across
You're
for the
so
party.
posh, aren't you? You're so
aspirationally
posh.
so,
Yeah.
certainly, not necessarily in reality. But yeah, we got married there in 2017. My daughter was born at the beginning of 2019. But yeah, it's been amazing.
Did you always want to? Are you one of those people? You know, some people do not want to get married. No interest in it. They have aspirations to get married, but they have no I want to get. Were you one of those that I want to get married? It's my thing.
Do you know what? I always felt like it would happen. I always felt like, you know when you're a kid and you kind of go, well, when I'm older, I'll get married. It's kind of what you do. When I'm older, I'll have a kid. When I'm older, I'll
get a car, get a house.
Yeah. It's kind of like a rite of passage. I certainly saw it as that, but I wasn't clucking for it. You know those people. Like I had a couple of mates who at 24 were adults, men, house, mortgage. I wasn't that. I was a long way from that. I lived at my nan's till I was 28.
Jeez.
Yeah. I wasn't a particularly mature. I've never been mature for I've always been sort of slightly juvenile. And no, I wasn't. I was never the first to do anything. I was always like the last one to come along. But then when it landed, when I met Victoria, my wife, it then all felt very natural and flowed fairly rapidly, I suppose. We met in 2013. She was my boss. She cougared me.
Was there any longer relationships before that?
There was one longer.
And you didn't think you want to get married to that person? Don't have to mention her name, but you never thought okay, she's the one.
She was, no, probably not. Probably not. No, we were both very young.
Yeah.
We were both very young. We went out for about 10 years, but it was tempestuous. It was on and off aggression and just in terms of volatile.
Describes
Yeah,
my relationship.
Yeah,
with my ex.
it was that. It was a very good relationship. I wish her really well. She had a daughter like the whole time that we were together as well. I think I'd met her and she had a sort of 18-month-old kid.
Okay.
So
that's a lot to take on.
Yeah, as a youngster as well, as a youngster. Yeah. But no, I mean, she was a wonderful girl. I look back on that time that we had together really fondly, but it was never really going to end with what I have now, which is sort of a stable relationship and loving marriage.
Yeah. For me, with my ex, and you're funny because you mentioned your relationship being a bit, or the previous one being a bit, hot-tempered sometimes. Mine was definitely that, but I enjoyed it in a weird way.
Yeah,
I felt like she tamed me because I was very street.
Do you think it's this? Do you think when you're young, that sort of thing is relatively engaging and exciting and almost normal? I couldn't think of anything worse now. I couldn't think of anything worse than having a drunken argument, well, with anyone, in fact. Yeah. But sort of with a girlfriend.
Yeah.
I just couldn't think
Towards
of anything
the end
worse
of my relationship with her, we were together 13 years, and we're going to get into it. We might get her on the show one day, who knows? But we were together nearly 13 years. And I remember towards the end of the relationship, I would come home from work and hope she wasn't in. Thinking, it's got to that stage where thinking, I don't want an argument. I don't want the noise and the drama. Please don't let me see the lights on when I turn the corner.
Yeah, see, I've never been in a relationship like that. Yeah, also, I think our chances of getting her on now off the back of that sentence has just taken a hit.
Well, there's a lot worse than that. I mean, come on.
No, do you know what? I've never been in a relationship like that. potentially people have, maybe I have, but I'd be the one that they hoped wasn't in. But no, I've never been like that. But I've also never been in. But you know what I'd describe my marriage as now?
Go on.
It's easy. Like, she's my best mate. She's sensible. No, but genuinely, like, my previous girlfriend was wonderful for loads of things, and, you know, really good girl, and I certainly wish her well, but nothing about the relationship was easy. It was always hard work. It was always, like, part of that can be fun, but it was always quite difficult.
Is there not a part of it? How long have you been married now?
Been married since 2017.
How long have you been with her?
Since 2013.
Okay, 9 years.
Yeah.
It's a long time. Is there, be honest, we're honest with each other. Has there never been a part of you, no one's listening, has there never been a part that's like, wish I was single?
Oh, no, I've never ever wished to be single since I've been with Victoria, genuinely. My life is so much better now.
Yeah.
Like, my life, like, she is so good for me. Everything, you know, I've got very lucky lately. Our friendship is a testament to that. This podcast is a testament to that.
Works. Got everything's got better.
It's all because of her. Like, genuinely, like, my whole life elevated pretty much as we got married and as we had a child. Like, everything got better. She's a stable influence. She's wonderful company. She's hilarious. I couldn't be happier or luckier.
One thing that surprises me about you and Victoria, and I feel like I know her, I've only ever seen her, I think, once, but I know her so much. You're polar opposites in your views on life.
Yeah. I think that, I mean, Paula Abdul sung about that, though, didn't she?
Did she?
Opposites attract. Do you not remember that cartoon with the video where the cat was dancing? 2 steps forward, 1 step back, we come together because opposites attract. No, we do definitely challenge one another, but I think that's quite healthy. I think that's quite healthy. Like, Victoria and I can walk to the polling booth and vote a different way. We'll always vote.
Yeah.
But we kind of walk down to the polling booth and effectively cancel out each other's votes. Like, we do look at life in a very different way. But I think that's quite good. I think part of an issue that you get now is society, you're not allowed to disagree with each other. Like, you're not allowed to be friends with people who you disagree with. And I think it's weird. I genuinely do, because some of my best mates I disagree with on a lot of things. Like, look, we can use a relatively recent example. I was in Dublin recently with somebody who you obviously know, and somebody who I think some of our viewers will have heard of. Adam McCullough does the Stretford Paddock, Manchester United fan, very, very well known in the YouTube space, on the kickoff and whatever. We're talking about the Europa League final. We couldn't disagree with each other more on what we want the outcome to be. And you know, obviously, because of the team that's playing, Glasgow Rangers, it comes down to loads of other things. It comes down to the way that maybe Adam views of royal family or whatever.
Beliefs.
So you disagree on... So I was desperate for Glasgow Rangers to win that game. He was desperate for them to lose. But he's still one of my best mates. And I think that's fine. I mean, you and I can do that. And I think it's fine. But there does seem to be this thing now. What do they call it? They call it an echo chamber, don't they? Where you basically only agree and you're only friends with people that you agree with. And what you end up with is this really weird situation in your life where I think they call it false consensus. When you go, I can't believe that this happened because everyone I know doesn't think it's going to happen.
That's so interesting because, you know, when you think of relationships now, especially relationships that are formed or made from online dating apps. Yeah. Yeah. Now, a lot of those, you're looking for someone that almost shares the same view or shares the same things or does the same things that you want to do.
Which isn't
so always... you're basically saying that it doesn't really work most times.
It doesn't work for me, but I don't think it... like Victoria, for example, if you think about... If you were to write down the things that you know I'm passionate about, you're now one of my best mates. You know me really well. 5 things I like in life. Drinking, football, playing cards. Victoria has no interest in any of the above. Literally none. Like, Victoria could walk past Frank Lampard on the street. She wouldn't have a clue who he is. Genuinely, not a clue. Yeah. And some of her hobbies... I used to get upset when my ex didn't like Liverpool. Yes.
Yeah, and now it makes no sense. Now I think it's stupid.
Yeah.
But at the time, I used to like, I'm watching Liverpool. You can see how passionate it is to me. Why is it not passionate to you?
But if you were to go on a date, which obviously I've known you and you're not shy on the dating front.
What are you talking about?
If you were to do that, if the conversation started immediately around sport and a girl that you were out with just immediately shut that down and went, do you know what, Eddie? I like artists. Do you want to talk about artists? Maybe you don't have an encyclopedic knowledge on that. You're not closed-minded enough to kind of think, well, we can't talk about how Steven Gerrard nearly won the league under Brendan Rodgers, so what's the point in being here?
100%, but there was a time for me when I wanted them to share the same interests. Which I don't know.
But you do get the overlap as well. You'll always get... In the Venn dot... Look, I've said Victoria's not interested in... She doesn't want to go to the pub. She doesn't want to go to Stamford Bridge. She wouldn't dream of going to an away game for Chelsea. Like, wouldn't dream of it. She thinks, she thinks it's genuinely wild.
Yeah.
She goes, what are you up to? On a Tuesday afternoon, I go and have the afternoon off work and I'm going to Sunderland because Chelsea are playing in the League Cup. She goes, what? Like what? Do you know anyone playing? No, but they're 11 of my heroes. They're your heroes. Have you met them? No, well, once maybe. What do you mean? Like, how are you being paid for this? No, I'm paying a lot. Like, she just can't.
See, when you say it like that, yeah.
It's unfathomable.
It makes no sense.
But look, we obviously have loads of shared interests as well. Because what happens is you go deeper than the superficial. Like, she doesn't want to go to Stamford Bridge, but we bond over restaurants that we like, and we bond over various cocktails that we like, we bond over TV shows that we like and books that we read and whatever. So you go that level deeper. But you know that initial top line, which I think is dating apps. Like, I was married before dating apps came out, but that top line is I'm a football fan, I'm this, I'm that, I'm A, B and C, and then the girl really has to look at that and go, I'm A, B, C as well, and therefore you date. But I think it's sometimes misleading.
Yeah.
And you're closing off an entire crew, an entire sector of society who you could actually bond with so much.
That's interesting you said it, because I think there's a lot of people that close off a section of society due to race as well. I think that's a big thing. Like, for me, growing up, I remember it was just
but
like...
you mean in terms of, so for example...
In terms of your preference.
Yeah.
In terms of your preference. So for me, growing up, it was, okay, I'm going to get married. It's going to be to a West African, preferably Nigerian.
But is that because you are sexually attracted to West African, preferably Nigerian women, or because...
No, I think it's family pressure and culture.
Right.
Because I'm still attracted to, Caucasian women. I'm still attracted to Asian ladies. But I think my culture, I think most Nigerian guys, it's almost like you're forced down that road of you have to marry a Nigerian.
So if you were to marry a white girl, so someone I grew up with, from Kilburn High Road, white, probably Irish ancestry, if she's from that area.
It won't be easy getting through the family.
Say your family. Say, think about your immediates, your brother.
Yeah, brother.
He coming to that wedding?
Yeah. I think everyone's coming, but I do think in my head I'm thinking, okay, the conversation to the parents or to the wider family is going to be difficult. Yeah. So I think most people almost section themselves into, especially within Africa, most people will date not just an African, but date someone from their country.
Specific.
And it gets so crazy in Nigeria, where you're dating someone from your village or in that area.
And does that translate to when people come to, say the Nigerian community of London?
Yeah.
Do you still try and...
100%. When I met my ex, the first thing my mum said was...
Nigerian?
My first thing my mum said was, what's her surname? Right. That was the first question.
To see if she knows any aunties or
just
whatever.
From the surname, she knew what area of Nigeria she was.
Right.
And she's like, oh, okay. Oh, what's said yet? That's her surname. And my mum was like, ooh, good. That ding. I saw my mum's eyes light up. Wow. He's not bringing a Jamaican.
And would you conform to that now?
No.
Right.
No. I think I was almost... And I wanted to as well, from a cultural standpoint. I don't mind it. But now, having been through that relationship and the pressures that it brings...
I can see why on some level, though. Because you're going to connect with people who you have a cultural link to.
Yeah.
And that can... I don't necessarily think it's always through race, because I could be culturally linked.
I think it's quite dangerous to do if, like myself and even my ex, we're British. We're brought up here.
Yeah.
So yes, we can connect with each other, but we can connect with millions of people as well. Yeah,
but now, obviously, you've had your moments, but now you would date anybody. Really.
Yeah, I think now I'd be open to dating people 100% from outside my race.
Well, from my very, it's a straw poll of one here, but my limited experience, I've been married once. I'm married. I'm from the city, passionate about being from the city, a proud Londoner, and never ever envisaged me not living in central London. Like, I saw people with an 0208 phone number when I was a kid as being from the sticks. Yeah. Like, you're from where? Acton? Sod that. Like, West End kids. My wife is so countryside. Like, she doesn't really get London. When, like, she thinks London's beautiful and she loves having easy access and she loves coming into London. She loves, she works in Soho. But in terms of sort of living and the drudgery and the busyness and the hassle, she doesn't get it at all. But what I would say is, from my experience of doing this, I think it's great to have somebody with like differing opinions of it, Because otherwise you're just marrying yourself. How close do you...
Exactly it. I think you're marrying yourself. And I remember thinking, as I was going to get married, and, you know, unfortunately, I didn't. I remember thinking, I'm marrying a whole family here, which is, I don't get me wrong, it's a good thing, but I thought we are marrying each other.
Yeah.
And we're going to be on top of each other, and your mum, your dad, and we're all like one. Yeah. And there was no separation.
But, you know, but life generally, right? If you build that life and what's good about life down to like 2 bullet points, which is very difficult to do, but you say love, so that's the most important. And then maybe you go experiences. So marrying somebody different, like which I did. Look, my wife's English, but she's from the northeast, countryside. Like I've got so many different experiences simply from that. Like I know so much about cows. Genuinely, I'm not joking.
About what?
Cows.
Like cows.
Cows, like cows that stand moo cows. Yeah, yeah. I know so much about them. Like I could tell you so much about. I know the difference between a Hereford and a Herdwick. Oh no, Herdwick's a sheep. I've done myself a disservice here, right? But I know loads about cows, more than I should know about cows.
And that's coming from your missus.
Yeah. I've been on holiday to the Lake District. I know Lake District like back of my hand. I had no interest in going to the Lake District. Every holiday for me would have been, do you want to go to Ibiza? Do you want to go to Marbella? Maybe Dubai, New York. Like that would be my.
So if
that
you
would be
were
my
to
experience.
have met you 15 years ago,
yeah,
would you be telling yourself 15 years ago the best thing about you right now is marriage?
Yes.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah. I would say, look,
we're so different in the sense that I, ran away from a wedding. I decided, you know what, I wasn't ready for it. I wasn't man enough for it. I couldn't handle the stress and the pressure.
Tony Braxton.
That's right. You've always got a song for every line. But genuinely, I thought I couldn't handle it. I remember at the time, so we got together in London. We started a business selling these type of chairs.
Glorious.
You see me sitting on right now.
It's such an anglicised business. It's like, crazy. Do you know what? I hope this doesn't sort of reveal some sort of inner prejudice within me. And if it does, to anybody listening, I'm very sorry.
I know. I would tell you.
If I bought that chair and then it was being delivered, it was being delivered to me, what are they called?
Chesterfield.
Chesterfield. Presumably that means they were made in Chesterfield.
Yes, sir.
Which is Yorkshire and as sort of old English as it gets. If I ordered that chair, I would not be expecting you
with the tattoos. And the worst thing is, you got me, bald head, beard, tattoos. She's a dread.
Coming from Stratford as well.
But both of us speak quite well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they would, they'd answer the phone and would speak, and their surprise when they would not come through the door and see both of us was incredible.
Yeah. Do you know what's more of an enigma about you? With me, things can't going right because I'm the stereotype in a way. I married a good girl, and it's like, I think Mike Skinner says something in a street song. He goes, "Look, you get the love of a good girl, and you'll be sweet." And that's pretty much what happened to me. I was a little bit off the rails. I didn't really know what I was doing. Had some relatively hairy moments and wonderful times, but some hairy moments. And then met Victoria, and everything, the trajectory just changed. You're quite an interesting one because you had the similar trajectory. Our stories aren't dissimilar. But there isn't like for me, the girl did it. The girl did it to me.
It's the other side. It's almost like coming away from that relationship, the embarrassment of calling off a wedding, which is the biggest embarrassment ever.
What did you do? Did you like do a Rachel Green in Friends and like jump out the window or something?
Pretty much.
And leave? Did you just run away?
Pretty much like
Mate, we've got to come on to it. We need to do a whole episode dedicated to this.
We can skim over it now. So in Nigeria, everyone's getting ready for the wedding, and Nigerian weddings are very similar to Asian weddings, where it's the biggest thing in the world.
Oh my God! So people have flown into.
Oh, of course, people have flown in from Nigeria to the UK. It's not easy getting a visa from Nigeria to the UK. Spent money. The hall's been booked, so that's 10 grand. The food, the caterers, and a couple of months before that, I'm like, you know what? I don't want to do this. And I remember going to see her mum when I got back. That's a lie. I didn't go and see her mum. I spoke to her mum because I was too fearful. I'm not joking. Chick wimped out, and her mum was very much, it's okay. These things happen. I'll see you in a couple of days. And I'm like, no. I'm not marrying your daughter. And then obviously it switched. The whole conversation switched. And I was like, it's the first time I've ever felt, and it's funny because me and you were just speaking off camera about using the word man up. But that's when I honestly genuinely needed a father figure around just to kind of say, okay, look, we'll deal with this.
Oh my God.
Because then I was like, Mum, you need to speak to her mum. I can't deal with it. It got to that stage.
Is that what you did?
I did. I literally put it all on my mum. Like, Mum, please speak to her.
I'd be very quick to call you a coward.
No, I was. No.
I don't think it is cowardly because I think it's this is so flammable, isn't it?
Not cowardly
you need help
in terms of running away from a wedding, Because sometimes, but cowardly in the way in which I dealt with everyone who I've known for the best part of 13 years.
Did you literally run away? Did you just jump on a plane back to London?
Got on a plane.
While people are still there?
No, the wedding was supposed to be in London.
Oh, right.
The wedding was supposed to be in London. Right. So I got on a plane coming back to London. No wedding. I've cancelled everything. I even tried to go back to the hall because I was broke and asked for some money back.
I love that the finances were also fairly high on your list here.
Yeah, because I was thinking, wait a minute, I'm broke now.
I'm definitely breaking someone's heart, but I could do with a bit of a rebate.
A couple of quid.
I could do with a rebate.
They said no. What do you mean my friends do? Went to the hall and sat in there. Because we were like...
What? I'm paying for this.
I'm paying for this. You're not using this hall for free. You're not using the hall for free. We're sitting in the hall.
I'm coming to the hall, man. I've paid for it. I'm coming.
But, hardest decision ever.
What flipped then for you? Like, how did you go from that? Because look at you now. Look at where we are. Look at your...
Rock bottom.
Yeah.
Rock bottom. You come back and there's nothing in it. I definitely went into a bit of depression. Honestly, because I'm getting phone calls from everyone. I'm getting phone calls from her friends, and rightly so. Yeah. Like, you effing blah, blah, blah. It starts nice and then it gets bad, and then the texts come and you got to block a few people.
Yeah.
It just started to get really vile, like very. Like,
it's painful.
Painful. And then, then I hit rock bottom, and then I was like, okay, what can you do?
See, it's impressive though, because you've done it. With me, the credit doesn't really lie with it to a degree. You share that we managed to kind of like get back to winning ways to a degree. But I just don't know how you managed to do it, because you're single and then decided, right, I'm going to embark on a new career. I'm going to take a leap of faith into a world of YouTube where I don't really have any knowledge.
I give her a lot of credit, and I think she knows this now. We've started speaking again, and I remember all the things that she was saying I could do back then in terms of YouTube and broadcast, and I used to laugh at, like, shut up. When she's always said, no, you could do it. Do it yourself. You could do this. You could do that. So
she does actually, at the very genesis of this journey for you, she
plays a massive part.
It's always a girl.
She plays a massive part.
It's always a girl.
You know when they say girls mature faster than guys? I used to laugh at that.
No,
it's so like, oh, nonsense.
So true.
It is so true.
Mate, they're always, at least with my... Do you know when I think about doing something, like immediately, often rash, do you know what I have to think? I have to think, okay, I'm going to do this, but before I do it, I'm just going to phone Victoria. Like, you know, if somebody does something, like a situation, whatever, if I don't like something, I can be very snappy and not always correct. I basically just think, I seek the counsel of my wife, and the right answer will come.
Good.
They get it right. They get it right.
Would you? And look, fingers crossed, you never ever leave Victoria. You know, you've got a wonderful kid, nice big house. You making loads of money, ain't you? If it were to ever come to a halt, would you ever go on a date?
No. I think I say this genuinely, right? I'd just be single.
Do you know how many users are on Tinder? Can you guess as to how many users are on Tinder?
How many users
how
on
many
Tinder?
people are on Tinder right now?
In the UK or in worldwide? Because it's everywhere, isn't it?
Good.
It's got to be, mate, loads. 100 million.
Okay, 76
million.
Yeah. I mean, you know how many that is?
Yeah.
Seeking love.
Well, I mean, it's the journey, isn't it? It's what people...
And me as a single person, I think a lot of people would assume I'm on it. I just don't... Yeah. I can't do it.
I wonder how many of those 76 million you've slept with. But no, mate, I mean, people, it's the journey. I think
30% are married.
For a lot, 30% are married.
30% on there are married.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. What does that say? You're married. What does it say about people in
says a lot of people have a lot more energy than I do. God.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Do you know, I couldn't think of anything worse than that. You know, like, I mean this, full, like, being as candid as I can possibly be, cards on the table. The idea of that.
Well, the idea of what? Meeting someone on
another, an app? You know, when you hear people have other girlfriends and other lives and
whatever, you mean cheating?
Cheating or kind of playing the field a bit and like having more than one. I honestly just don't get it. I just don't see the buzz. I don't see how.
Have you never met someone though? You know, obviously, look again. You and Victoria, like that, rock solid. You've never met someone that's maybe turned your eye, like, oh, hello.
No, I since I've been married, I honestly haven't, because I don't think I'm open to it. I also think I'm blind to it. Like, I've never been. I was never great at the chat anyway. And I was also always convinced that nobody ever actually fancied me. I never think, like, if I did like someone and I was single, I'd be like, oh, she wouldn't anyway, kind of thing. That would be my approach.
You're not going to get any R's and ooh.
No, I don't need them now. Got sex on tap now. But no, I don't. I honestly don't get it. So you see that 30% that you're speaking about there. 30% of people on Tinder are married.
Clearly unhappy. Like I remember in the first.
But I don't necessarily think it's as simple as that.
What is
I don't
it
think it's as
just
simple.
a bit of spice.
Because I think a lot of. Yeah. I think
don't say men.
Unhappiness.
Both. Yeah.
No, it's men.
You think?
It's men.
You think 30%? Well, 1 second. Do you think the
29%
29% men? You think it's that high?
Higher,
really?
higher,
I wish there was a figure.
Mate. This is so men.
You'll be surprised.
Nah, I would be very surprised.
Yeah.
I also know nothing about what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But
I've got 3 sisters. You'd be very surprised.
No way.
Not trying to say they do anything. I'm trying to say I have conversations with other girls a lot, and you'll be surprised.
No, there's no way that any. I'm not having that. I'm not having that. Married. Tinder is this hotbed of married women looking for one night stands with men. That's not how the world spins, man.
You're not having that. You got these ladies that stay at home. Their men go away for business. They're bored. The men treat them like trash. You're not having that they can be sort of, coerced into doing something.
No. I honestly don't think that. Look, I could be proved wrong, and maybe we can find the stats for this on another episode. Yeah. But I would say that the lion's share by a ridiculous percentage
will be men.
Yeah, men are bad.
Yeah, but men also are very stupid.
They're very stupid.
And do silly things.
They're very stupid. And they do very silly things. And it is a silly thing. The majority of the time when people cheat on their wife or husband, they regret it, which implies that it's a silly mistake at the time.
I cheated early with my partner.
Did you?
Yeah, early in our relationship. Yeah, when I was still very much, like I met when I was 24, 25, I was still doing silly things with friends. And I didn't really take the relationship serious at the beginning. Yeah. And then, it went, because...
But it would be very different for you. It would be very different for anybody. Cheating at 25 is very different to cheating at 35. Married with a child, it's a very different journey, I think. But I would be surprised if there was a huge swathe of women coursing through Twitter looking for men available.
I've got another fact for you. This is interesting. A 2016 study revealed that those who use the app tend to be less happy with their looks. However, they believed only male users suffered lower levels of self-esteem.
But I think that might be true because my mate he's now in a relationship with somebody that he didn't meet on the app. But he used to really make me laugh because you often see this thing, like for example, a man on there would have to be very careful what they say in terms of what they like. They'd have to be very respectful. But my mate used to send me these things and it would be like under 5'11" need not apply and all that.
Yes.
And you can just be out there. So I'd have no luck on there anyway. Yeah. Because if that's true, if the general consensus on Tinder is under 5'11s need not apply, just me on there, isn't it? It's me on my own. I think the app generally is very bad for self-esteem because you're only being judged on your looks. Because it's photographs, isn't it? It's photographs and maybe a few words. Yeah. It's like a social media profile. Yeah, I think it's a really bad thing for society. I find Instagram and I imagine that it's a condition that's replicated on these dating apps.
It's pretty much that, isn't it?
I think it's damaging, man. I genuinely do. And I think because I'm a bit older and because I'm a father and because I've got a daughter and because I adore my wife and see how she approaches life and it's a lot more tender than I would naturally be, I do think that there's a damaging culture. You know all this Instagram stuff? Everybody acting like they're billionaires. Yeah. Everybody acting like they're glamorous as anything. Selfies and... Like, I'm so...
Photoshopped photos.
Yeah. I'm so... anti that for my daughter.
Are we just too old?
Yeah, I think so. I get called a boomer all the time. I think so. I think we probably are. Yeah. I think young people listening to this wouldn't see the issue.
I'd probably be their target market, right? 40 years old, single, ready to mingle.
Yeah, disposable income, so you could pay the upgrade or whatever.
But I wouldn't even want to go for Tinder. It doesn't appeal to me. I don't appeal just the idea of swiping.
The only reason why it could appeal, and
to who?
Easy. It's easy. Like dating is hard and it's effort.
I know more
and it's
people that use
expensive.
Tinder as a sexual app than as a dating app.
Yeah.
Like, I know people that land in a city and they're using Tinder.
Do you know what though? Maybe you aren't a good case study here because you're a person. Firstly, you're handsome, and therefore you don't have to worry. Like, no, do you know what I mean? Like, you're also very confident, and you're also articulate. So you can go out, have conversations, attract naturally, and and you've got disposable income. You can buy dinner. You can do it. You're probably not a good case study to use here at all, because there are people who don't have, firstly, the looks, secondly, the confidence, thirdly, the articulation, and fourthly, the disposable income. They still want to meet people. But I do think it's damaging for them, because you say yes and no based purely on a face. It's hateful.
Crazy,
it's hateful.
That's actually,
it's actually
crazy.
Hateful. Like, if it wasn't virtual, it would be cruel, wouldn't it? I imagine it's how Genghis Khan would meet his suitors. Not her.
What's the best way then? Like, for a single man to meet someone, is it still just the
So
usual?
if I was in the situation, and when I was in the situation, I think face-to-face is essential. This virtual world for it isn't for me at all. And I do think it's damaging. And I don't think that it works, because we spoke earlier, we've kind of come full circle here. Finding people with your interests isn't only a good thing. It isn't only good. There is so much to life. There are so many other opinions. There are so many other places. There are so many other experiences. Simply finding people who think the way you do. I like A, B, and C. She likes A, B, and C. Great, let's meet. Limiting. It's limiting. And in terms of self-esteem, in terms of self-respect, in terms of everything like that, this is broader than simply dating apps. But social media is just an abomination of it isn't like look, I use it every day, every day, because of work, and it has become so intrinsically linked to my income that I have no option. But if I won a Euro Millions, and I have the little fantasy of winning the Euro Millions, when people genuinely, what would you do if you won?
You're coming off Instagram immediately.
Do you know it's one of the fantasies? Like, it's actually there. Yeah. Like, so some of the I'd probably buy a nice house on the French Riviera in Antibes. I'd have a house in the south of France. So I fantasize about that, but I also fantasize about deleting my Instagram profile. I actually think, oh God, if I win the lottery, it'd be great, because I'll get to buy a house and delete Instagram and delete Twitter. That's how damaging I think it is. And I won't have my kid on it. And I love the fact that my wife has it and probably goes on there once a week. Addy, if I'm honest with you, mate, I'm addicted to social media.
It's bad. I've tried to
I'm addicted. No, you're worse than me. I remember, when we were in America,
I'm worse than you.
I was like frustrated.
I'm worse than you because I'm single. So I'm on there,
maybe.
And I'm looking at Instagram, almost look like it's Tinder.
But mate,
sometimes.
listen to how damaging maybe this is for you. To people who don't know this, listening, Addy and I went to the States fairly recently. We went to the Super Bowl. And obviously we spent loads of time together. We had a wonderful time and had fantastic company. But there was a big issue that used to drive me mad. We'd go out for dinner, and I'd be having a conversation with Addy, and the conversation would go kind of me to him. He wouldn't quite hear it because his eyes are glued to the phone. And it was a thing where I had to go, mate, I can't talk to you until you put the phone down.
Is that damaging our relationship?
Yeah. I mean, not long term, not irreparably, but at the time it was annoying. Yeah, of course it was. But bearing in mind, I didn't have my phone in my hand, and I've just admitted to being totally addicted to social media. I don't know what you're playing at. If I'm telling you to put the phone down, you've got problems.
It's actually not as bad as that.
No,
it's not as bad. No,
it's just when you're in boring company.
You're boring. You're boring, and I was like,
So it's a reflection on the company.
You. It's your fault. But the weirdest thing for me is, and maybe that's probably why I have been single since the ex, and that was like 4 years ago. I'm like, I actually don't know where the right place is. 4 years ago, yeah.
That's way more recent than I thought.
Really?
I thought we were talking about a story a decade ago.
Oh, no, 4 years ago. Wait, yeah, 4 years. I left Nigeria in April 2018.
Mate, your turnaround is amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Isn't it?
It's not bad. It's not bad.
Okay, we need to have that conversation as well. The journey of Addy Oladipo. I need to hear more about that.
There is a YouTube video about it. Feel free to go to my social media.
Always getting it in. Well played.
Plug.
But mate, I do think that whole
I miss
world...
being in a relationship though.
Do you?
Oh, immensely. This single world is nonsense for me. I just don't have the time for it. I don't have the time for the pretense of it all.
Well,
like just the
agree
idea
with
of getting dressed up all the time, having a fresh trim and going out and drinking and spending money.
Trim?
Got to trim the beard.
Oh.
And spending money. How dare you? That's got to be trimmed as well. The bald head's got to be trimmed as well. Spending money I don't really have.
I haven't had a fresh trim since 1986. But yeah, I agree, because you know all the best things about my day. Do you know what? Do you know ultimately what I do every day? I fly into London. I have a busy life. I do loads, but the priority is get home, get back to my house, see my kid before she goes to bed, and watch some TV and have dinner with my wife. That's basically the be all and end all of my day. And I know that you don't have that, but I couldn't quite imagine what the motivation is if you haven't got that. So I do understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
But other people, by the way, they would go, "God, I gotta go home to the missus, and you get to go out and."
Yeah. No one's ever happy.
I don't think so.
But you are.
I prefer. Oh, mate, I prefer so much.
I think you're a lot happier than me.
What, fundamentally?
Fundamentally, yeah. I feel like you've got it all sorted. I feel like I'm still trying to plug holes and fill gaps. Yeah. Because I don't have that emotional side from a female.
Do you not revel in the dating? Do you not find...
No, I absolutely can't stand it.
Aside from the moment... Like, I'm trying to see it from your
You know what it is? I just go purely on looks.
When we were in
I'm
the
going
States...
purely on looks.
When we were in the States, we were sitting on that
Go on.
rooftop bar. I hope we can disclose
We can, it's okay. Yeah, yeah.
We're sitting
I'm a
on the
single
rooftop
man,
bar.
it's okay. Yeah.
Do you not potentially pity me in this situation? We're sitting at the top of this glorious bar in the
Downtown
centre
LA.
of LA, and these two very attractive girls come in. I went, "Hi, nice to meet you. I'm going to bed. See you later."
Yeah.
And you went, "Hi, nice to meet you. What would you like to drink?" Are you not pitying me there? Because a lot of people listening to this will definitely prefer your role in this story and the ending of this story, in fact, rather than my role in this story.
My role in that story cost me about $500.
Yeah, but you got loads of money. Well, you made it money.
I'm okay. Your role was, a bed and probably a phone call from the missus.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun for a couple of hours, and that's exciting. But then, the realization is I'm in LA, and what are we going to do here? Bit of hanky-panky, then what?
See, I think most people listening to this will think that if they had to pick a role there, Batman and Robin, you're Batman, I'm Robin. So I've gone, "Hey, lovely to meet you. Have a lovely night. Really, really, really enjoy yourself. Ta-da." Most people would rather be you.
I would rather be you.
I would rather be me.
I've done me for 4 years.
Times,
It's been 4 years, and it's fun, and I've done me, and enough's enough. Time for a bit of fun now. You ready for this? You heard us talk about our lives for now. Interesting. Victoria, we've heard mentioned. I didn't even mention my ex's name, Demi. Let's give her some respect, eh?
Demi.
You know her surname.
You'll hear more from her soon.
You might see her as well a bit soon. All right, it's now time to hear about yours. We've been on the hunt to get some stories from our listeners, and they did not disappoint. Rory, are you ready for this? All right, let's talk about this one. This is from Ben. This might be slightly strange, but on a first date, I always like to go to IKEA. My thinking is if we can cope with the stress of IKEA, followed by a nice chat over the meatballs, their meatballs are pretty good, then there is every possibility we can make it work.
This is horrific. This is horrific.
Awful, isn't it?
No, I mean, not the IKEA. Do
meatballs.
not try and romance in IKEA. Surely, that first date, it's imperative that you get it spot on.
If you can get through IKEA, all the drama, all the nonsense, the pencils, the yellow bag, if you can get through all of that and still at the end of it be okay, then there might be hope.
If she is prepared to go to a first date to IKEA, I'd say she's not worth seeing.
Really?
Yeah.
All right, next one from Joel. I'm not proud of this, but I met a girl once and honestly thought she was the one. After a year, I decided to take her home to meet my family. I'd never done this before, so this was a big step for me. This couldn't have gone more wrong. As we go inside, the girl takes just one look at my younger brother, turns and bolts straight back out the door.
Oh, God, I know where this is going.
Turns out my younger brother was also in a relationship with this girl, and they had been together for a number of months. I didn't go after her, and we never spoke again.
Oh, my God.
It can happen, by the way.
She's crazy.
It can happen.
No, but this girl is crazy.
What for? I thought you said 1 second.
Well, she's embarking on two.
You just said that girls don't do this.
I mean, I said no. I gave you 1%, didn't I?
Yeah. Oh, she's the one.
I gave you 1%.
She's the 1%.
I mean, that's crazy.
No.
I just don't know how people do it. Like, the juggle, the energy. I was talking. I'm obviously not naming him
it's
here.
It's a buzz.
I'm obviously not naming anybody here.
Yeah.
But a friend of both of ours was recently talking to me about the situation that they had, and he's a funny dude.
You're making me think of funny friends.
The amount of effort that he goes to, it blew my mind. The amount of juggling to keep multiple people in the dark and multiple people happy. I just honestly don't know how you do it. I don't know how people have the energy. It's almost, on some perverse level, I kind of find it quite inspiring. To have
Inspiring.
the ability and drive and energy, because it must take, like, keeping one household happy is.
No, but you're talking about properly cheating it. So you're talking about having
split lives. Yeah.
Oh no, that's ridiculous. I'm just talking about the guy that lives at home with his missus.
No, but this girl's got 2 lives because she's got 2 boyfriends that think they're the boyfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah, she sounds awful. Like she also, somebody far more clever and intelligent than me will have to diagnose this. But it also sounds insane. Don't you think? Don't you think that's mental?
No.
2 No, you think it's cool?
No, I just think it happens. I think it happens a lot.
But does
more
it happen?
than you do.
Is it not? Is it not the?
I think it's
is it not the behaviour of a lunatic?
Yes.
It's a nutty move. Just pick your favourite, man. It's like it's like your football team, isn't it? Just pick your favourite and devote your life to it.
All right, next one. This is from Scott. I'm someone who normally doesn't get much attention. Who wrote this? What, Scott? Sadly, the attention I get on Tinder seems to be mostly from very odd characters. The strange interaction I've had was recently when a woman offered to buy me trainers in return for an intimate video. I've not been on the app since.
Mate,
give me the trainers.
What? But you're going to have to do something lewd on the web.
Not on the web.
Yeah, on the web.
Privately, send her a video.
Yeah, but that you never heard of a screen record? What are there? Are you open to that?
I'm open,
mate. There's some terrible things like that, you know.
That's crazy, mate. There's crazier things than that.
Are you aware of OnlyFans?
Yes, I am. You know how much money can be made?
Do you know my friend's on it?
Yeah.
Do you know the name's Sophie?
She does.
She does the Chelsea stuff.
I saw her in Vegas.
Did you see her? Did you speak to her
2 weeks ago? No,
you've got to say hello to her.
I was going to, but I wasn't sure if she knew.
No, you've got to just mention me.
Should have said hello. Yeah, but you know she was in Vegas.
She's always in Vegas.
Oh, okay, she was in Vegas.
She half lives out there.
Yeah.
But she's been very candid with me. I mean, we could bring her on here one day.
That'd be fantastic. How much do you think she's making?
She told me. I'm not. I won't say it. She can tell you.
Right.
But it's more than me and you combined. She's bought herself a house in a really affluent part of London. A house. Like, think about the cost of living in London. And I won't say the area, but you know the southwest London pocket that is very beautiful and very sought after. She bought herself a house. Yeah, I mean it's literally
OnlyFans as a whole,
thousands and thousands of pounds a day. It's mental. It's mental.
What is?
But she does speak very openly about it. So she may come on and have this chat with us.
Yeah, because I'd love to know how someone could want to be in a relationship with someone that's on OnlyFans.
I believe, again, she'll have to tell us, but I think she actually lost her relationship
because of it.
Yeah.
It's almost like those people that are in relationships with porn stars. I've always wondered.
Do you know I met one?
A porn star.
I met both. I met a porn star and I met the husband.
How did you know she was a porn star?
No, she's a famous porn star.
Okay. How did you know she was a famous porn star?
The story goes, you know, I do the True Geordie.
Yeah, okay.
He's had a porn star on the website. Sorry, he's had a porn star on the podcast. They were filming after I was filming. So I'd done my show. The show ended. She's turned up with the husband. I was like transfixed at how weird and pathetic he must be as a man. You know, like, I was just like, you are not a man. How can you be okay with everything? Because also, you know, like the levels of porn. Like there's a spectrum, isn't there? There's porn, and then there's like porn. I saw a video from this girl. Oh my God, mate! It actually like disturbed me. It was distressing.
You wouldn't, as a normal dude, be able to compete. You know, I want to end this conversation on. It's a question. It's a tough one. Yeah, you ready?
I'm ready. I'm geared up. I'm poised.
What would you do if Victoria ever cheated?
I would go crazy. I would go. I would be uncontrollable.
Would you guys be together still?
No, absolutely not. But neither would she.
Yeah.
She would adopt this very similar. I would be horrific. My view on life. I view the world like people viewed the world in 1958.
You are like that, by the way. You do know that.
Yeah. Out here, it's 2022 here. But my house is 1958.
Okay.
And no. I bet she would be exactly the same.
Okay.
She would not. She's a very liberal person. But not insane.
What about, I'm pushing the boundaries here now. Again,
go on. No, mate,
I like
go
how
for
you
it.
just
Go
started
for it.
putting your hair through, your hand through your head. It's stressing you out a little bit. What if you found you're speaking to someone
So
not cheating. Well, that might be classed as cheating.
It would depend on the words. It would depend on what was being said.
Okay.
But no, but you can cheat without you can cheat without sleeping with someone. Yeah. And if she did that again, the relationship would be over. And she knows that, and she would be exactly the same about me. But yeah, zero tolerance. You?
For me, it's a complete no-no as well. But I'm not as.
What could you forgive?
I think I could.
Could you?
I think I could.
You pathetic man.
I think I could. Remember, I'm not in 1958. I'm in 2022.
What, you could forgive that?
I think I could. You know what it is? You know what it is, I think? I think it's because, not the physical.
No, not the physical. No, sorry.
Couldn't forgive the physical.
Not the physical.
Yeah, but I could forgive the non-physical, the conversation. I think I could. Because I've to be honest.
Hang on, is there not an argument for this?
Go on.
The non-physical.
Could be worse.
Because it's emotional. There is something sort of more, less invested in sex. Look, I'm saying nothing's okay. Nothing. But there is something there is less investment in sex. It happened, I was drunk.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like when they...
A connection. Texting each other while you're sitting there watching the telly. She's texting another. Not a chance. Not a chance.
Yeah, you don't know. She's right there messaging.
Yeah, that's why.
I think I could forgive. Honestly, I think I could.
I
think I could.
You were a Premier League. You were a Premier League friend.
I'm a forgiven human being. Rory, fun. I've enjoyed.
Been an honour, man.
I've enjoyed that.
It's been a great. It has
been fun, hasn't
it? Great debut.
It really has, right? Yeah. Relationships. What should we do next? You know what I want to do next? Masculinity.
Well, you're gonna have to.
I'm gonna have to hold a bit. I think I'm gonna have to hold the show with you, Mr. 1958. You. I think I'm gonna have to hold the show with you, guys. Make sure you tune in to the next episode. Make sure you subscribe as well, and make sure you download the podcast from wherever you do, Apple, Spotify, or wherever. From myself, Oladipo, and Mr. Rory Jennings here. Thank you so much for tuning in.